Hey guys, it's December 19th. Now, I want to dedicate this episode on a rather interesting clip on the incoming president-elect Trump when he was at the New York Stock Exchange, when he was ringing the bell to inaugurate the day's trading session. Now, I found it very, very interesting because he given me an overwhelming impression that he really means business. And he set forth just a couple of areas that I found interesting the most. The first of which is to do with his stance of protecting the crypto industry, particularly in Bitcoin, and also his stance on pro-business policies that he's planning to enact when he occupies the Oval Office. Both of which has given me increased confidence as a foreign investor in one of the largest capital markets in the world, that he really genuinely means business, particularly during his second term at office. So let's watch the clip. I advise you to watch it in its entirety. It's only over a few minutes long. So let's watch the clip, and then I'll give you my final thoughts and takeaways at the very end of this episode. So
the American investor in this country.
Well, I think you're going to see some very good days ahead. A lot of incentives are going to be given. You saw yesterday a $1 billion investment, and we gave you very fast approvals. Nobody's come up with that one yet, although it seems pretty simple. I think you're going to have some great days ahead. We have to conclude a couple of bad wars that are going on. A lot of bad things are going on, but we'll get them done.
Do you think that we are in a situation where business will be far more embraced under you than currently?
Well, I don't want to really knock current, but I will tell you more than at any time, anywhere in the history of our country.
Now, we used to speak together about the idea that the averages mattered and were a good barometer of your performance. Is that still the case? Can we go beyond Dow Jones, maybe to NASDAQ?
Well, I think I've always said, to me, stock market is all of it together. It's very important. It's an honor to be here at New York Stock Exchange. I sort of joked that I actually bought the building across the street because the stock exchange was here. It's a big deal.
40, it's a nice building.
40 Wall Street. So, look, we're going to do things, I think, that haven't been really done before. We're going to be cutting taxes still further. We got it down to 21%. We're going to bring it down even below that. You pay 21 if you don't build here, and meaning your product or whatever it is you're building. And if you do, we're going to try getting it down to 15%. But you have to build your product, make your product in the USA.
And how about every working person who's watching would love to be able to see dividend tax maybe much lower, capital gains much lower?
Well, we're going to be talking about that, and we're really talking about lowering taxes. Last time, as you know, we took it probably from close to 45% down to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. Now, it was always I really wanted to get it down to 15, and we'll be able to do that. And if you remember, we had the best 3 years in the history of our country from the standpoint of the economy. I think we're going to really incentivize the country to go back and work, and they will be incentivized. They're going to do well. People are going to be very happy. We're going to do something very special. We have some great people up there. You saw some of the people on the cabinet, and we have some of the most successful people in the country. And we're dealing with the most successful people, and those are the people that put others to work. And we're going to be hitting job numbers. And as you probably heard me say, we picked up, since just the election, $3 trillion in, you call it worth or value, but $3 trillion was picked up since November 5th, so that's pretty good.
When President Reagan was here, he talked about putting the bear into hibernation, letting the bull run free. Yeah. Sound like a good motto?
Sounds perfect. I can't do any better than that. That's what we're going to do. The market's only doing well. This is before the election. It's only doing well because they think Trump is going to win.
Meantime, how about a crypto? Really, we do need, I think, you're embracing crypto, very different from the previous administration. Strategic Petroleum Reserve like for crypto?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to do something great with crypto because we don't want China or anybody else, and not just China, but others are embracing it, and we want to be the head. We're going to be ahead of AI. We're going to be way ahead of AI, and we've got to produce tremendous amounts of electricity. You know that. It's unbelievable when you think that we need more than twice what we already have. If you think that's pretty for a specific industry, but we'll be able to do it. I think long term, this is going to be a country like no other. So we have great people.
Mark Zuckerberg?
Well, Mark Zuckerberg's been over to see me, and I can tell you Elon is another, and Jeff Bezos is coming up next week. And I want to get ideas from them. Look, we want them to do well. We want everybody, and we want great jobs, fantastic salaries. We want people to love, and, when they wake up in the morning, get up, and I love to go to work. I want to go to work. We want people working, and we want them working for a lot of money.
All right, Mr. President.
I mean, just in summary, I can't be more than bullish about what he's just said. And I can really understand why. Ever since the man has won the election on November 5th, he's mentioned that ever since then, he saw a hefty increase of around $3 trillion in value in the US. And this is before he actually occupied the actual presidency office. So I hate to think, when it comes January 20th, when he's going to be swearing an oath and occupy the Oval Office, I hate to think how much more bullish the actual investment and capital flowing into the country is going to look like. So just to summarize, some of the interesting policies you can just take away from what he's just mentioned. The first of which is around, this MAGA, Make America Great Again. He's broken that down into several very interesting policy areas, like making swift business company approval settlement in the country for those that have $1 billion or more investment being brought into the country. He also made a mention around cutting taxes down to 21% for those businesses that don't have a settlement in the country in order to build and manufacture products homegrown in the US. He would certainly try his best to further decrease that down to 15% if such companies can commit to settling their businesses and jobs in the country. And this is a drop from 45%. I think that's what he mentioned. Again, very interesting. This is definitely a pro-business type, responsible statesman that ought to be making these sort of pledges in order to draw in capital and jobs and businesses and investment in the country. Fantastic idea. And then the more interesting aspect, he wants the US to take a lead in crypto and Bitcoin across the world. So he wants to be a leader on that. He also made a mention on AI. He wants to do a similar sort of thing to become a world leader in AI industry. And he made a very interesting mention around electricity and where he thinks he will be needing double the amount of electric capacity into the country. Now, this would actually bode very well particularly for the Bitcoin mining. As you recall, during his pledges at Nashville, he made a mention that he wants to set up Bitcoin mining rigs in the US. So making this claim around becoming a world leader in AI, and AI fundamentally requires a tremendous capacity of electricity in order to drive the AI industry in the country. Well, this is fantastic because this is where Bitcoin mining can certainly help. And if you read between the lines, when he made that statement, it means that he's going to be not just concentrating in setting up AI industry, he's going to be actually setting up top-notch Bitcoin mining rigs across the country. Because as I've mentioned in my various podcasts on the channel, the AI and the Bitcoin mining, it has a symbiotic relationship. It works hand in hand. And that's why if you combine both the AI and the Bitcoin mining into a single narrative, from an investment perspective, that's going to be truly explosive because they're both strategic growth industries in the economy. And then he also made a mention that finally, that in his cabinet, he's already lined up some interesting, renowned individuals. And these are leading businessmen, authorities in their own right from the private sector. Again, this can only bode very well and is a tremendous bullish sign that he's bringing in people from the private sector to form part of his cabinet in order to construct this political agenda and policies that he's made a mention in numerous occasions. And he's also left the last hint that he's going to be expecting to receive more advice and visits from renowned business leader figures like Mark Zuckerberg, also with Jeff Bezos. And all the idea makes sense. He doesn't have the answer to absolutely everything. That's why he's drawing in these business leaders to beefing up some new ideas, some new MAGA ideas for his term at office. So all in all, I'm extremely bullish as a foreign investor into the US capital markets. This can only be it gives me tremendous comfort. And I question myself, why aren't the other leaders around the world take heed of President Trump's explosive winning elections? Well, he's earned it because he's really vocal and he's explained and articulated many of his major policies that he wants to drive through. Why aren't the other leaders around the world take heed of some of his policy measures? It makes sense if the rest of the Western world at least have copy and paste some of those tax cuts ideas, right? Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is an antiquated 20th century model. As soon as you add Bitcoin as a strategic Bitcoin reserve in your national treasury, the amount of taxation needs to be overhauled from a 360-degree angle, because it wouldn't make sense to continue to have things like capital gains, right? In my view, it should be completely exempt. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please don't forget to hit the like button and share the video to your friends and colleagues. And please subscribe to my channel, as I regularly post some interesting podcasts such as these with anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and the future of finance. So until next time.